Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. If you missed it last night over in Mexico, 49ers hammered the Falcons. The Arizona Cardinals, I think it was 38-10. It was not much of a game. The 49ers, to me, are the best team in the NFC if they could stay healthy. Basketball, we'll talk a little Gator basketball with Chris Harry after Buddy Martin. They're heading out to Portland, Oregon for the tournament. He'll give us a rundown of all that. But in the meantime, we're going to go to good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. You can listen to Buddy Monday through Fridays, about 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook Live. Good morning, Buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Shane. How you doing this morning? Good show last night. A lot of people glommed on, and they love hearing you when you're on with me.
Buddy, before we jump into the Gators, are you a World Cup fan?
You know, I actually watched it yesterday, and I felt an obligation to my country. And so I'm not a soccer fan, but I did watch all the game. And
I forgot we were playing. And apparently, did we lose or did we have a draw?
It's a draw, 1-1.
But it was a horrible draw, right?
Well, yeah. What happened was the United States dominated for 45 minutes. Now, I'm not an expert on soccer, but I know officiating when I see it. When I see all the yellow cards come out against the United States and none against the other team, obviously there's something not working out right now. But the officiating was questionable. Then they would call timeout when the other team got injuries later in the game and not call timeout when the U.S. had injuries. So it's a crazy game. It was big. Obviously, I guess it was a big game, but to me it was. And here's the thing I know. You talk about a drought in scoring. I thought it's bad when a team doesn't get a score for a game or whatever. They said last night when the United States finally scored a goal to go up 1-0, it was the first goal in 8 years. 8 years. And so
bad offense. Fire the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, really. So for all you fans who are mad about the way teams not scoring, think about that. 8 years, no goals.
Andy says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellow Law, it's time to give up soccer. We have 110 times as many people as Wales, and we can't beat them.
That's true. As Wales was very fortunate, got a penalty kick and made it barely, and soccer tie 1-1 now. The United States plays England. I'm told they should win, and that group was –
We should beat England?
Yeah.
I thought England was usually pretty good every year.
Well, I don't know. Look, what do I know? I don't know.
Yeah, I know nothing about it. I know I should be watching it, but I forgot about it, and it just is not on my schedule because I just don't get into it at all.
My notes say U.S. still favored team come from Group B. So that's what I wrote down last night in my notes. Anyway, Friday they play England. They're favored over England. So that's all I know. That's my soccer report. That's all I got.
I love regarding the comment that Andy made about all the people we have compared to Wales. Mm-hmm. Tony chimes in and says, "Ha, how many students does UF have compared to Vanderbilt?"
Yeah, good point. Good point today.
Vanderbilt's I think they only have about 7,000 undergrads.
Well, that's all they want. Again, and by the way, congratulations to the Vandy people out there. It still stings, naturally. The best story of the week, Vanderbilt fined $250,000 for storming the field. How often does that happen?
Yeah, and it's a shame because if you've ever been to Vanderbilt Stadium, you can't, like, at the Swamp, if we were to storm the field, you just go over the little orange wall, and it's only about a 5-foot drop. Vanderbilt Stadium, it's about a 12 to 15-foot drop. So you can't they have to go down the stairs.
Mm.
So you got to go like a single file line to get up to storm it, because if not, you're going to jump and break your leg. So it was kind of funny to watch the student section do that. But
you sound like you had experience doing that, Shane, where you described that. I don't think you ever started.
I was watching them, and I'm like, there is no way anybody is jumping over that wall.
Yeah.
Because they were going to break their leg, guaranteed.
Vanderbilt fined for storming the field. Wow, there's a story you didn't think you'd be seeing this year.
And they, quite honestly, there's probably only about 3,000 people out on the field. It wasn't many. So anyway, all right, buddy, we talked about it last night on your show. If anybody missed it, just give me your thoughts of what you saw in Nashville.
Well, I'm a little unhappy with what I saw. Now, you told me that they were prepared and they had the right plays called, whatever. There were so many mistakes, as we know. And you pointed to 4 plays last night saying this costs Florida the game. I can do that every game, to most every game. But there were 3 mistakes. They made some egregious mistakes, obviously, on penalties. The part that bothered me where it was the fact that they made mistakes mentally, which is not like this team is supposed to be doing. They got average play out of the quarterback position, could not run the football. I still go back to, and you tell me I'm crazy, I don't like it. I know they don't coach all the time. There's 100 people there, and nobody can tell them they got only 10 men on the field. There are almost 2 plays. That's kind of sloppy play. That's not week 11. That's week 2. And I know Billy's coached them. I know they know better. But they just, in addition to all the mistakes they made, the drops, the fumbles, the muffs, whatever, apparently they thought they could just sort of turn it on and turn it off and win the game at the end. They couldn't. This Vanderbilt team wouldn't let them. So I'm very disappointed in a team that loses to Vanderbilt and Kentucky in the same year. It doesn't happen around here. I think the last time it happened was 74. And Billy owned up to it in the press conference yesterday, as he should. He's got to own up, and he's got to start having to see some of these answers that work, because Gator fans aren't going to tolerate this kind of thing.
No, but like I told you, it's year 1. I mean, we are who we are. We're sitting about where I thought we would be. Brandon's got a good question here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law. He says, Shane, can you clarify your comments yesterday when you said you have no problem with the play calling, but also said anytime AR throws it 30 to 40 plus times is a recipe to lose, which we have done all year? Yeah, so what I said at the beginning of the year, having watched us practice, I knew the strength of our team was going to be running the football because of our running backs and our offensive line. But having watched practice before the season kick, I was like, we are not going to be a very good throwing team. And so the recipe for us winning games was no more than 20 to 25 passing attempts, because if you throw for more, if you have more attempts than that, that means you are not playing to the strength of your team because you are behind. So you have to throw the football to try to catch up. That's what happened when we were down, 14, 18 points, whatever it was. We had to throw it every down. So we have to stay on schedule. You hear the coaches talk about, staying on schedule, blah, 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 all that stuff. That's who we are. We just don't have a potent passing attack where you can drop back and throw the football. It's the facts. I will argue with anybody about that. It's not pointed at any person or coach or anything. The facts are the facts. The best thing we do is run the football, but we got stuffed the other night for whatever reason. Give Vanderbilt credit. But then when you fall behind because of silly penalties and miscues for turnovers, then you have to throw the football. But if you look, and I don't have the stats in front of me, and I could be wrong, but if Anthony has 25 or more passing attempts, we probably lost that game. Somebody can look that up if they want. I don't have time to do it. But so anyway.
Well, let me just say, you were calling for, you said, and of course, as we know, you take what the defense gives you, and you point out they were playing soft in the secondary.
Correct.
And you felt early on, you said they can throw the ball here, which they didn't take advantage of.
Well, we did. I mean, we did move the we moved the football in this game.
Yeah, 400 yards.
It's the problem is, you look at those 4 plays that I pointed out on your show last night. I pointed out on my show. If only 1 or 2 of those happen, we win the game.
Yeah.
Look, I have zero problem. And then this is just my personal opinion. People think because I call games that I'm not going to talk bad about a coach or administrator. Look, the University of Florida does not pay me to do the games. People need to realize that. Okay. I was told to call it as I see it. I try to put myself as a coach and what I would be doing. I've had no problems with pretty much 95% of the stuff that Billy Napier's called on offense because we are who we are. If we execute, like I had somebody on, I think I was on Steve Russell's show, say we ran the same 2-point play both times. No, we didn't. They weren't even close to being the same. The second one was the exact play that LSU beat Alabama on. The difference was we threw the ball late and it allowed the linebacker scraping over the top to get his hand on it. But the play was open. It was open. It just if you think those are the same two plays, please don't ask any more questions because they weren't.
Look, I don't pretend to know football like you guys know it. I just know what I see and feel and think based on my experience. And I know you told me the team was ready, but explain to me why they couldn't run the football.
Well, buddy, sometimes the other team whips your ass. I mean,
okay. So what you're saying is that Vandy whipped their ass is what you're saying.
It happens. It happens.
Okay.
I mean, look at the National Football League. You have teams that never win a game. Like last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Buffalo Bills. I mean, sometimes you go, how'd that happen? I don't think they whipped us, but we had one long run for 27 yards to the 4-yard line. It was called back because of an illegal formation. Simple procedure. But for the most part, we got no movement. And sometimes you just got to say, you know what? The other team out-physicaled us. I don't know. I don't watch the trenches enough. I'm just telling you that's what I saw.
Okay, I heard what you said. But
that has nothing to do with us not being ready to play.
Wait a minute now. Hold on a second. Think about what you just said. All right. Mm-hmm. Let's turn back the clock to the years when you played for Steve Spurrier. All right.
Yeah.
Can you imagine someone saying Vanderbilt whipped our ass? Vanderbilt.
Buddy.
Wait. This is what bothers me. If you say Vanderbilt whipped our ass, that's a concern because that shouldn't happen. Okay. And I want to know why it did. Okay.
I agree. But here's the difference. When you're comparing Steve Spurrier's teams for 12 years to Billy Napier's, first of all, you had consistent play. It didn't matter if it was me, Werfel, Grossman, Noah, Jesse. Everybody was a consistent player at that position. And then you had dudes all over the field. And we were a balanced offensive attack that we could move the football with anybody. We're not that right now. We're not. And if somebody thinks we are, that's their opinion. I'm just telling you what I think. That's the difference. But regardless of all of that and not being able to run the football, we should have won the game if you take away 2 of those 4 plays that I mentioned. So Troy says fans don't want to accept the reality that this team is rampant with subpar talent. It's difficult for me to understand how that happened. I mean, I agree with you to a point, but we still should not lose.
You got to stop saying that. That's not real. You think Vanderbilt's loaded? Please stop saying that.
No. That's why I said.
I don't mean you. I said whoever said that. I mean, think about what you said. Get serious. Not you, the guy who had the question.
Yeah. So, Lauren says, true, Shane, definitely need more dudes. I'm not complaining about our guys against Vanderbilt. I'm just saying to win football games, you need to be a consistent football team. And this is, one game you may have the offense play well, and then the other 2 phases sputter around. You're not going to win. One game you may have the defense and special teams play well, and the offense doesn't. You ain't going to win. All 3 phases have to work and just be consistent. Consistency is the problem. And I think Billy mentioned that yesterday in his press conference.
He did.
I think it was on your show.
He did.
And that's the problem with this team is consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And he said that their team, their team is they could be they can play with it like an elite team. They can play like a mediocre team, basically. And that's the problem, getting them to play more like an elite team. I don't buy that they look. Here's what I'm tired of people saying. I get that you try to rationalize losses. Every team does it. We saw it the team get dismembered in Columbia. It was a team that was expected to compete for a possible playoff position. It happens in football; you get your butt handed to you. But when coaches say this, and I heard Jimbo Fisher say it last night, I'm so sick of hearing this. Well, we played okay. We didn't get the result we wanted. Yeah, right. That's called winning and losing. There's a coach I know that over there runs a restaurant now who never liked participation trophies. And yes, losing and winning matters a lot. So stop saying we didn't get the result we want. We got beat. That's your answer result. And that's not good because you're not paid to get beat. You're paid to win. And the one that got away from him, based on what you said about the one or two plays, whatever. I'm a big Billy Napier fan. I think he's absolutely the right person for the job. But I'm sorry, I'll go about grave saying they were not ready to play that game mentally. Like, one of the reasons there was nobody up there on that staff who'd ever been to Vanderbilt. That is a Bermuda Triangle.
Billy's been there. Billy coached.
No, with his team. Yeah. No matter with his team. I know he's been there, but you got to understand, Shane. You know the lessons of Vanderbilt. You and Danny, all the rest, you know what's going to happen to you up there. And
none of my games were close there.
Well, but my point is, you've seen enough games to know what can happen at Vanderbilt.
It's a hard place to play, but I still think we were ready to play. I thought the first drive was outstanding.
Field goal. Well, yeah, but you did say one time, I don't like the way they're letting Vanderbilt hang around. You said that on the broadcast.
Well, I did say that because we did. They played. They had a methodical approach offensively. They were converting all these third shorts because their quarterback would run around. Look, they had a good game plan. They still only had like 240 yards of offense. I think our defense played well. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Dahlring Weeby, a Realtor, Caldwell Banker, M. Parrish will provide you with fast, friendly, reliable service. Give her a call today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. Speaking with Buddy Martin. All right, buddy, I got a couple comments here. I want you to respond to these. I'm not going to respond, but you respond to these.
All right.
Joseph says, y'all got to let the QB talk go. We could have had any Gator great from the past at QB, and we'd still be losing. Our defense don't help at all. Worst it's ever been. Okay. But then Greg says, fans remember Trask winning without defense. And I will tell you this, the USC Trojans are winning with no defense because of elite quarterback play. I'm just going to leave it at that. What are your thoughts on that?
In the 40s, yeah, I saw that game, watched it too. Well, what was the first one again? Tell me, what was the first one?
He was saying our defense is so bad, it doesn't matter who played quarterback.
Let the quarterback
back to any of the great court. See, I disagree with that.
I disagree also. I disagree because I think their defense had improved. They showed they were capable of making stops, and they proved that the last two games. I don't care who they were playing against. The fact is they weren't. I'm not as critical of Anthony as some are. I know he made mistakes. He admitted he should have pulled the ball some, and he didn't. He made some bad throws, which every quarterback does. Didn't get a whole bunch of picks, so in that regard. But I mean, I'm okay with Anthony. I think he's a really fine quarterback. I don't know what he's going to do. I wish he'd come back, but if some people don't agree with me, he's going to get a lot of money to go play in the NFL. Fine. But I mean, you always, Shane, you know this. You always blame the quarterback, no matter what it is. You blame the quarterback when you lose. It's a group loss. It's enough blame to go around for everybody. Believe you me, everybody blame. I blame the coaching staff for. I know Billy said didn't matter. I'm sorry. I think it does. Is that they were thin on receivers. Now, some of the guys that played, including the guy you like a lot, played and did well that were not experienced. However, I know enough about football to know that when you have a practice with a group of receivers a lot, the timing tends to be off. And I think some of that was going on there. I go back to it. I know people think they're getting tired of me saying it, but you can't find a spot on the roster for Trent Whittemore to get him on the field because guys like that you could use in situations like this, not the return punch. But he's a good athlete. He can catch the football. So they found themselves short of people because of the decisions they were made. Now, they didn't kick. I mean, Trent left on his own volition. But again, it's roster management. It's getting the right people coached up, get them on the field, whatever. It's a group loss. I don't blame the defense or the offense. I blame the coaching staff and the players for losing to Vanderbilt and Kentucky in the same year.
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody's fault. I mean, but there's nothing you can do about it now. We got some texts we got to get to here. I don't know who this is from. on the Titan Mar text and says, "Is SOS advertisement making fun of Vandy a good idea?" What's he referring? Do you know
I
what
have
he's
no
talking
idea. I
about?
have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about either. And this is from Daryl. Are y'all surprised this late in the season this team keeps making the same mistakes over and over? I want about some of our players' football IQ. Well, we don't have great football IQ. I will tell you that. I do. I do think we were the. I think we were the least penalized team in the league going into this game. Had a lot of penalties, but the penalties that we had were crucial, game-changing penalties.
And
That's the
dumb.
difference.
And dumb.
That's what I'm saying. They're game-changing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, the one on Antoine Powell Ryland, he should have been a holding call on him. He makes the sack, but he grabs the face mask. You can't fault that. That was great effort, great
I
play on his
understand
part.
that happens. It was an
But
accident.
the other ones were just absolutely
Really bad. Really bad.
silly. All right, this is from Frank. He said, "What is your opinion on Sam Hartman? Some are saying he will either transfer to the Gators or go to the NFL. Would he be a good fit for the Gators?" I've been a big Sam Hartman fan. I talked about him on my show early in the year. Really good player. I don't know. I mean, there's rumors he's interested in the Gators. I don't know if the Gators are interested in him. Who knows? That's why. I mean, Anthony's going pro. Um, Sam Hartman has an opportunity to play another year, maybe 2 years, but he can go pro as well. But he'll probably be like a. I see him being like a backup in the NFL for a long time. He's very accurate, but he's like a third, fourth, fifth round guy. I don't. I mean, I'm just guessing, but he can run a little bit too. So I don't know.
I don't
Frank,
watch Wake Forest football, so I couldn't tell you. But
you ever
but
watched them?
well, I think I've seen two plays. I hear good things, and Shane, there is a buzz going on about Sam Hartman, but what they got on their roster there? The kid is not going to be able to play for him. Miller ever going to get on the field again? I don't know. I haven't seen development of any other quarterbacks at all. So I guess it'll be.
The times that Kidna has played, he's thrown the ball extremely well.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
Greg says, okay, the Spurrier's commercial for his restaurant says making reservations is easier than a noon game at Vanderbilt.
Oh boy, bad choice.
That's hilarious.
Somebody wrote that copy.
He obviously taped that a year ago.
Yeah. Freddie, that's on you.
Todd says on Facebook Live, and I agree 100% with this. He says it's simple. Florida currently is not good enough and depth-wise to overcome the critical 4 to 5 mistakes that I pointed out. Give Billy time. Yeah, I mean, we're not. When we get behind by doing dumb stuff, we're in trouble, big time trouble. All right, buddy, let's move on to the semis. We got the semis Friday night. Mm-hmm. Should that be a great atmosphere, a Friday night game? I hate it though because still high school football is going on. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But Florida State sits at what? What are they, 8-3 or 7-4? I don't even know what their record is.
I gotta look up the record. I don't know. I know they're a favorite. I know that about 9.5
They've beaten a lot of the teams they're supposed to beat. They've lost to the teams that you thought they'd lose to. Mm-hmm. So I do think these two teams are a lot alike. Same type of quarterback, guys that run around, not great throwers, but can make enough plays to hurt you. So how do you see this game going? We got a chance, buddy?
I think got a chance. FSU, let's see how good their defense is. Their quarterback play has been much, much better the times I've seen them play. They got a little momentum going on. They beat a pretty good football team and crushed Louisville. I mean, Louisville's not great, but they crushed Louisville. So I think FSU has been sitting there waiting for this one. It's been they didn't play 1 year, so Florida's won 4 in a row, and they're waiting in the weeds to even the score up. I think I've kind of liked Norvell as a coach. I thought he was a good hire. Surprised he didn't have a result he wanted early on. But this is a football game. It means so much to Florida right now because while I want to erase everything that's happened, it will certainly change the tenor of things for Billy Napier and their squad because winning this means everything. It means a 7-win season, beating a ranked team again, going to a halfway decent bowl. I don't know how good of bowls there are out there now, but yeah, it means an awful lot to Florida. And if they can't run the football Friday night, I don't know what to think. So I like Florida's chances in this game. I think there's a chance they can't turn the ball over, as we know, and they got to quit making stupid penalties. But I think if I was a betting man, I'd take those 9.5 points and take the Gators.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm not concerned about them throwing the football on us too much. It's more running the football.
Mhm.
Um, because they do have a good rushing attack. And he says they have a great bunch of receivers, need to pressure the quarterback. Yes, we do. There's no question there. So, um, all right. Joseph says there ain't one receiver on this team that would play on any uh, of the past Gator great QBs. All of them had NFL receivers. I didn't have many NFL receivers. Um,
I think
yeah, I mean, I don't know what Joseph. Look,
Pearsall could play for a lot of teams.
I think Ricky Pearsall, he's a really good player.
Mm.
So Joseph obviously thinks we're bashing Anthony. We're not bashing Anthony. We're just stating facts. Um, but we're not a good throwing team. But I have like Dejon Reynolds from day one, and it was
Yeah,
good to see him. Good to see him on the field.
Yeah, you had him. You've been talking about him for quite some time. I didn't know that much about him, but Sam Hartman, huh? Interesting.
Well, Frank, I think it was Frank text that. I've been hearing it.
Mhm.
I think he and Drake May are outstanding players. I don't think Drake May he has like four brothers, buddy. His dad played quarterback way back in the day at North Carolina, but he has four brothers that have all won national titles at different colleges.
Really?
One of his brothers was on the Gator baseball team. He didn't play a whole lot, but he was on the Gator baseball team. Um, he had a brother that was on one of the North Carolina basketball teams that won
Okay.
a national title, but he's got to stay in school another one more year, I guess. There is talk I heard yesterday that Ohio State's trying to come after Drake May.
Interesting. CJ Stroud didn't have a great game, by the way. And people who saw that score don't get fooled by it. Maryland gave them fits. It took a muff in the end, a fumble in the end zone. Shane, I'm having a hard time. I got to vote in the Heisman. I'm having a hard time finding people. I know you,
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, but I can't. That their team is not good. They're okay.
It doesn't matter. Okay, so let me ask you this: when Tebow won the Heisman Trophy, we had 5 losses.
Yeah, but he had 20 touchdowns running and 20 throwing. That was a big.
Okay, well look up what Caleb Williams is doing right now. I bet he's got 40 something touchdown passes or close to it, and I bet he's got over 10 or 15 rushing.
Yeah, I can't vote for him at this point in time.
Okay, well,
I don't. Drake May, I haven't seen it. I know he's in the hunt. He'll be one of the top.
Drake May is an outstanding player. Outstanding player.
All right. Well, so was Hendon Hooker, but he's gone now. He was the guy I liked a lot. CJ Stroud, based on what he played today, is not my number one pick. Drake May, I got to look at again. He probably would be. Caleb Williams is worth looking at. Stetson Bennett, whatever chances he had, were kind of diminished the way he played last weekend. So it's a wide open Heisman, Shane, and this weekend will decide it.
Yeah. James says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, do you think AR is good enough to be in the NFL at this point? No, but it doesn't matter. You got to remember, there's only 32 quarterbacks that play, 32 in the world that play in the National Football League. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that are on the bench. Mm-hmm. They're going to draft him off his potential. It's crazy. As good of a thrower as Kyle Trask is, Trask has not dressed out one time.
Can't get on the field. Yeah.
I mean, he's been in street clothes every game. So it's a hard league to make it in. But yes, he will be drafted in the first round, in my opinion.
Shane, how did you make it for 14 years in the NFL? You had a
great buddy. That's the only reason.
Yeah. And wasn't that physical dominance you have in your body, 175-pound body you got in your?
No, it was not. It was because
that's something, brother, that I know you're proud of, and you ought to be. 14 years in the National Football League? Are you kidding me? That's amazing. That's amazing.
No, I was fortunate. There's no question, but it's all about if you know the game and you coaches can count on you, knowing that you're never going to practice. That's why I lasted, buddy. Well, I remember Sam Weiss used to let me run the quarterback meetings when I was with him in Buffalo. It was fun.
You loved Sam Weiss, didn't you?
I did love Sam Weiss. He was great. Yeah. He was a good man.
Interesting guy. Interesting dude. Yeah. So I don't know. I read something the other day. I can't wish I could remember. I hate to say I read something. said there's such a lack of running quarterbacks available in the National Football League, and they want more mobile quarterbacks, that anybody who can play and run the RPOs is desirable. It's like a shortage of toilet paper during the pandemic, right? All of a sudden, everybody wants this quarterback who can run the RPOs. Well, you got a guy who's 6'5", 240, who can run RPOs and can throw the football. So maybe that's why he's so desirable. I keep saying him ranked in the top 3 quarterbacks available. And you're probably right. He's going to go. But I just wish I could have seen him at full throttle one season when everything was working good. This team could have been so good with Dan Thielen with those games.
And like I said, it's nothing against him. He's got all the potential. But I've seen enough quarterback play for all my year. He will never be consistent enough. That's the key. Being a long-time quarterback is consistency. That's the key. It's not splash play here and then whatever. So, Andy says Sam Weiss was third-string QB behind Sonny Jurgensen on the 72 Skins.
Yeah.
Oh, there's old Sonny. Oh, Sonny again.
There's Sonny. I remember when Sonny saw Spurrier throw the football for the first time after his Heisman year. I was in the press box. He said, he throws that ball sidearm. He said, little did he know that's what was going to be the thing in 2022. They all throw sidearm now.
So, buddy, I want you to do this since you're having trouble with your Heisman. Somehow pull up some clips of Caleb Williams.
I've seen him.
He will remind you of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Well, that's quite a. I've seen him. I watched the games Saturday night. I've seen him. He's a good player. Look. There's something about it when you see a player play. When you're voting Heisman, you're thinking the best player in the country ain't Caleb Williams. I'm sorry. He's good. Maybe he'll be a finalist, but I haven't seen that guy at this point in time that I want to say, yeah, that's him. Maybe I'll see him this weekend. I don't know. But I'm just thinking, to me, the Heisman is a special award for a special player on a really successful team. And what's USC?
They're 9-1.
Oh, they're like 9-2 or whatever.
No, they haven't. They're in the playoff hunt.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, the point is they're not out of. Oh, okay. I'll take that. Are they the best team in the country? No, they're not.
No,
second or third best team.
He's probably the best player. If you're look, C.J. Stroud's going to be in New York. You can book on that. But I'm telling you, if you're looking for that splash player who's having a phenomenal year, who has his team that went like 4-8 last year. We got to remember, USC went 4-8 last year. Caleb Williams shows up. They're sitting at 10-1 or whatever they are right now, and they're still in the playoff hunt. So we got to get to Chris Harry and talk.
All right, he suffers from one thing. I'll let you go. They play those late games, and if you go back east, don't have a chance to see him play that much.
Well, he's playing Notre Dame this week, so I don't know where that game is.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to have me some Thanksgiving, and I'm making out my schedule of games to watch this weekend, including the Egg Bowl. So, you have a happy Thanksgiving at your house, Shane.
You too, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. Going to take a quick time out. Come back and talk a little Gator hoops with Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com. You're watching and listening. Pot up with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker M.M. Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points where the Gators go to celebrate. Premium brands like Bass Pro Shops, International Diamond Center, Regal Cinemas, Dave & Buster's, Nike, Wawa, the Gadget Guys, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Now selling here Head Beer Coach, American Lager, and Draft in 16-ounce cans. Available at Spurrier's, Visors, Gator Games, and select stores across Gainesville. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. We're now going to head to the Titan MR hotline. We're joined by senior writer Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com. Good morning, Chris. How are you, buddy?
Morning, Shane.
Do you have your Virginia Cavalier hat on?
I do, and I have my Virginia mug too.
Yeah, if it was horrible what happened there. Obviously, your daughter graduated from Virginia. Just hard to believe. I know they've canceled pretty much the rest of their season in football, correct?
Yeah, they have, and I just thought it's pretty moving around how all those places around the country, wore the patch either on the helmet or on the jersey during the thing. When I was at the basketball game Friday night, they had about a 30-second moment of silence with the Virginia logo at the top, and the stuff with the coaches who had coached with Bronco Mendenhall, and they wore, I think there are 11 of them across the country who wore Virginia stuff and coached for other teams. I thought that was a pretty special.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Well, but I believe Vanderbilt had a coach, if I'm not mistaken, who was on the Virginia staff, who was they were all in Virginia gear in the press in their box for each of these. It was a Tony Elliott idea, and some guy at Washington State was all in Virginia. It was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, it's hard to believe what happened there. Gators leave to
Frozen
basketball tournament, best events.
Frozen.
Which that
all right.
Speaking of the Maui Invitation, today's going to be a high national chance. The Blue Jays against the Hogs. Who's all going to be out at the PK 85?
Hold on, you keep breaking up, buddy boy. Let me see if I can move somewhere. Getting a tour of my home here in the morning. Can you hear me now?
Is Chris there?
Hello.
Yeah, there you are. Now I can hear you.
Okay, I had to move. I was losing you. Well, you asked me who's in the tournament, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Florida will play Xavier, Shane, in the first round, and Xavier's the team that ended Florida's season last year in the second round of the NIT. They have the same record as Florida. They just lost their first game Friday night in a great game against Indiana at home. I think it was a 81-79, I believe. If the winner of that game will play the winner of Duke or Oregon State. Okay, Duke is number 8 in the country, has all those McDonald's All-Americans dudes, Sean Shire's first year and what have you. And depending on outcomes, Florida could play any one of 4 teams on Sunday, either number 6 Gonzaga, number 24 Purdue, West Virginia, or Portland State. So obviously this is a very high-end tournament. It's actually one of 2 tournaments. There's a legacy tournament, and there's also something called the PK1, and that's a tournament that's going on in the same 3 venues out in Portland, but no less qualified as a high-level tournament. How about this? You got number 1 North Carolina, number 12 Michigan State, number 18 Alabama, number 20 UConn, Iowa State, Oregon, Portland, and Villanova all on that side. So that's a lot of high-level basketball going to be played in Portland over Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, I'll say. Let's go back to Friday night in Tallahassee. Gators are getting blasted in the first half. I don't know if a basketball coach goes in and breaks chalkboards, throws crap up against the locker or what, but what did Todd Golden say at halftime?
Well, he said some things that would be commensurate to breaking chalkboards, I think, or what have you. But basically, he said, what are we doing? They're taking it to us, and they only have basically 6 scholarship players, so we're doing something different, and it's going to stay. And he pointed at him. It starts with you guys, but one of the things he did is roll out a full court pressure defense, and he doesn't like doing that. he said after the game that I'm not a full court pressure defensive guy, but sometimes you got, what happens in a game dictates what you have to do. And in doing so, he took Kowacie Reeves out of the game and he put Trey Bonham, the junior transfer from Virginia Military Institute, who just calling it like it is. He wasn't very good the first 3 games, Shane. He had one game, I think, where he had 3 or 4 turnovers. He looked kind of sped up at times in the FAU game, not comfortable out there. But he came in, he hits a 3 right out of the box. But what he did more than anything, he got up into Caleb Mills. He got up into Max Cleveland and some of these guys and just kind of forced them, kind of sped them up the way he was sped up in the first 3 games. And Coach Golden showed confidence in him. And, man, it was a 10-0 run. FSU scored a bucket. It was a 14-0 run where Florida finally took the lead. Seminoles broke it. Then it was a 10-0 run by Florida. Next thing you know, you look up, they're up 11. It's a overall to start the second half. It's 38-5 run, and the Gators are in control of the game. Colin Castleton's playing great in the post, and it was just something that Todd said they probably should have been. He credit FSU has good players. Granted, now they got a bunch of guys injured or they got one really good player suspended. But you take advantage of that, and Todd said, we made a mistake probably by not taking advantage of that in the first half, but they certainly made up for it in spades in the second half. I think the second half score was 54-24 in terms of points scored.
We have a Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law from Andy. He says, Chris, Myron Jones seems to have lost his shooting touch. Why is he still on the rotation?
Why is he still in the rotation? Because he's a 5th-year senior. He's smart. He's where he's supposed to be when they're playing offense. He's a pretty good ball handler. He is 0 for 8 from the field. And 7 of those have been 3-point shots. I think Todd trusts him to do some things that maybe he doesn't trust other guys to do. He is a consistent player. He is thorough. He is clearly frustrated, but he also is a good enough player where they have faith that he can fight through that. Now that's where it stands right now. Your guy just easily could have asked me about Kowacie Reeves, who was a DNP in the second half. Riley Kugel, who's a freshman, and he's by far their most talented freshman. He was a DNP in the second half. This is going to be a thing with this team until some things are figured out. I mean, Trey Bonham was like I said, he didn't play well in the first 3 games, but he's the guy Golden used in this game to spark and ignite his team off the bench. That could have easily been one of these other guys if they show that they're worthy of doing that or they're capable of doing that, or if Todd Golden believes that they're capable of doing that. We'll see who it could be somebody completely different against Xavier or against Duke or against Gonzaga or whoever the Gators end up playing this weekend.
Text on the Titan Mark text line from Larry in Mobile. He says, Chris, where does the Alex Fudge dunk rank in all dunks for Gators?
I'm going to write about that in the next couple of days, but you saw it, right?
Yeah.
He got texted by a bunch of old Gators who have come through to talk to the team, and he even got a text from Will Wade. Congrats on this thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, his former coach at LSU. But I asked Casa. Casa said I'd never seen a dunk like that live, but he was saying, I mean, the guy was 7'4" that he slammed on. So, I mean, he just said he went baseline and just fed it. He goes, I knew I could get up high. He goes, the guy didn't seem like 7'4". He said, but I'm up there. And the guy's, yeah, he's 7'4", but oh my goodness gracious. And if you, I'm sure everyone saw the reaction of the bench on the sidelines. If you can also, I've actually slowed down and you looked at the people, some of the people behind the basket, the FSU fans going, oh, because they knew where everything was headed at that point. And I think Florida was up maybe 6 or 8 at that time. And that kind of dictated the rest of the game, I would say. But yes, awesome.
John's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon. Chris, what went wrong against FAU, or was it just that FAU couldn't miss from 3? And I want to chime in on that question. What did Todd Golden take from that loss that you saw in practice, or what did he emphasize to the team after losing the way they did to FAU?
Well, again, 13 of 24 from the 3-point line. You just don't expect that to happen. But at the same time, I mean, they had 2 guards that were combined 7 for 7 from a 3-point line in the first half, but it's 35-35. I think what he took from it just as much was, even though those guys are bombing threes, Gators go on this hot streak to start the second half. They're up 10. Finish the game. Don't let them back in the game. Don't let transition defense breakdowns. They knew exactly. They didn't play to the scout. I think what happened on that, and I don't think you overreact to that. But at the same time, I know for a fact that he had great. This wasn't a thing where this wasn't an overlook thing. Todd Golden told me, like, when some of his analytics stuff that he does, Shane, or heavy duty with scheduling, and he got the Gator schedule and looked at that one right away and said this could be a problem game right here, because they had all 5 of their starters back. They were 19-15 last season. They had a 7-1 player who used to play at Texas Tech in the post. And he said Dusty May, who obviously knows his team because his son is a walk-on the Florida team, knows the personnel. He goes, this is not a good analytics game. And I think in time will bear that out. They're a top 100 team in KenPom right now. You got to give them credit. The guy Michael Forrest came off the bench in that game, and he hadn't played the first 2 games because he was academically ineligible. He became academically eligible about 6 hours before tip-off. So, I mean, it was just kind of a imperfect storm for the Florida team, and it's something they'll learn from, hopefully.
Hey, Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. A few more minutes with Chris Harry, FloridaGators.com on the Titan Memorial Hotline. All right, so the PK85, a lot of good basketball teams there. Obviously, these are the kind of games that you win that help you when it gets time for March Madness, getting selected. Outside of that, I mean, with it being a new coach, a new team, what is Todd Golden trying to get? I mean, obviously you want to win games, but he's trying to find out who his rotation is going to be come conference play, right?
I think that's right, but at the same time, I mean, these are games. I go back to the analytics thing. These are the big games, man. And I mean, they'll have a FAMU game, and they'll have a Ohio game down in Tampa, and I think there's one more. Oh, well, actually, they'll play Oklahoma and Charlotte. So they're intersprinkled in those low major opponents. Or these games are the ones that like you said, build your resume. And he does have to find out who his dudes are. The guy who just asked me about the FAMU game. I mean, the FAU game. Florida missed so many shots around the rim. I think they were. I think he said they were 13 of 42 or something in what he calls around the rim shots with their 3-foot finishes or what have you. And they missed some more in the first half against FSU. They got to figure that out. Fudge can't mess around the basket. Riley Kugel can't mess around a basket when they get in there and finish. Now they're going to have to do it against the Xaviers or the Oregon States or the Dukes or the Gonzagas or the Purdues. And they just got to hone what they know they want to do. But to your point, yes, they have to figure out this rotation, because he's been quite clear. He's not playing 11 guys when the SEC comes around. And that's a month away. So he wants the rotation to be about 9 guys. I mean, he'd probably settle for 8 if he doesn't have a productive bunch of 9 guys. But he thinks he has good players that haven't, distinguished themselves, if for lack of a better phrase, yet. And this is a time to shine. 3 games in 4 days in an elite atmosphere. 2,400 miles from home. We'll see how the team reacts to that being in this kind of environment.
All right, John's got a question. We'll get you out of here. He says, Chris, Castleton's averaging 25.9 right now. How will he do it going up against better competition like Sheedway, or maybe to see someone like this weekend in Portland?
Like Drew Timme, for example, in 2 days? I mean, let's give Colin Castleton his due, man. He's turned himself into a highly, highly skilled big man. And his footwork, he's a high IQ player in the post there. He can run the floor. Look at some of the things that he's done with his ball handling. He's not perfect when it comes to that, but he's gotten so much better. Does Florida want him to be a 25-point a game? I don't know about that. I think they'd like it to be distributed, even a little more evenly distributed across the scoring, especially if it means that guys like, Myron Jones or CJ Feld or Riley Kugel or Kwesi Reeves get more into the mix. But man, he is playing really, really well. I would love to see a Drew Timme, Colin Castleton kind of showdown. There's a reason Drew Timme wasn't considered worthy of a draft pick last year. Not because he's not a great player. I think the guy's Kevin McHale with some of his offensive moves at the college level. But, defensively, I guess the scouts believe he's something of a liability or what have you. But my goodness gracious, if that game materializes, that'll be a classic or a great matchup of big guys. That'll also mean Florida's probably playing in the championship of their bracket on Sunday.
Yeah, that would be cool. All right. I know you watch some basketball with all these early tournaments and stuff. Kentucky's got 2 losses. They've lost to 2 really good teams, though. Tennessee has a loss to, I think, a bad Colorado team. Arkansas, watched yesterday. Boy, are they athletic, and they got 3 lottery picks on their squad. Anybody jump out to you so far in the league?
Well, you just probably named them. I'm trying to go down the league in the top of my head. Other than those guys, I mean, I haven't seen anything from Alabama yet. I don't think they've lost a game yet. They're actually going to be in that other bracket out in Portland, so maybe I'll know a little bit more about them. But the league is going to be what it is. I am a little surprised that Kentucky was manhandled by a Gonzaga team that was manhandled by Texas. That surprised me a little bit. But Sheboy was in foul trouble. But it was an overtime game or what have you. That happens. But I think we're going to let it play out a little bit more here. Auburn is a team we haven't mentioned. They're the defending champions. So that'll be Florida's first game in SEC play, and it'll be Todd Golden against the coach who gave him his first break in high major basketball. Obviously, Bruce Pearl hired him for his first job back in 2014.
Good stuff as always, my man. How's the gift bag going to be for the PK85 for Chris Harry?
For Chris Harry, I don't know. It'll be pretty damn good for the team. I think last time 5 years ago, which was Gators were terrific in that tournament in the big Gonzaga double overtime win. They lost to number 1 Duke by 3, but we actually got to tour the Nike campus, and that was really, really cool, impressive. You can picture what the Google campus looks like, or what the Walmart campus looks like, or some of these high-end headquarter CEO kind of places. Nike was pretty tremendous. We're not going back, but I've been there once, and that was really, really nice.
So what's Chris Harry going to do all your downtime? Get some nice walks in?
They actually let us bring our wife and daughter, and I will get some walks.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to avoid the areas under the bridges in Portland, because that's their own communities down under there. But there'll be some stuff to do and some stuff to see while we're out there. It'll probably be raining, though. Usually does this time of year.
Yeah. Well, have a good trip, my man. We'll talk to you when you get back.
All right, Shane. Have fun in Tallahassee. We'll be watching you at 9 in the morning on Friday.
9 in the morning?
Actually, 4 in the morning. Okay. Yeah, the last time we were there, the game started at 9 in the morning. This is a 7:30 game, so we'll be there 4:30 right after whoever Florida plays. Right after whoever Florida plays on Friday.
You had me worried there for a minute. I'm like, did they change the time? So, all right, man. Have a good trip. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, man.
That's Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com. You can follow him on Twitter at GatorsChris. Let's get to This Day in Sports, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Give Comfort Temp Heating and Air a call at 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports, 1998, the CFL Grey Cup was won by the Calgary Stampeders. They beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats, led by 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback Jeff Garcia. I forgot he played in the Canadian Football League. That's This Day in Sports, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Ruse-Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit OgreInsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Hope you enjoyed today's program. I want to thank Buddy and Chris Harry for joining us on the Titan More Hotline. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll have Mike Morgan from ESPN and JC. No show on Thursday. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. We'll be back Friday for sure. Hope you have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care, folks.